Alright, welcome back. In the previous section, we looked at how to create purchase order and how to enter new vendors in the system. I've shown you how to do that. So for recap, I'll just say it again. So to create a new vendor, you can go ahead and click from here, right? Click on here to go to your vendor center. Then come here and click on where you're seeing new vendor. Click on it, then you click on new vendor. You enter the name of the vendor and the details of the vendor. Then you click OK. If you have all this information, you can go ahead and fill them, then click OK. You have added a new vendor. Then for purchase order, now it may also interest you to know that from where you are, right? If you know what you're doing, from where you are, you can start any transaction. Let's say for instance, as I am clicked on, I have selected Boa Foods here right now. I can start any transaction with Boa Foods. Let's say I want to create a purchase order from here. Right, I can do that. I can just click on purchase order. I'll create purchase order from the selected vendor. Now I'm seeing this option because there was a vendor that was selected earlier on. So if I say save changes, it will save. If I say discard changes, to discard the changes. If I say continue editing, it will still retain the previous one. But let's say I want to discard this, right, so that it will only select the Boa Foods I enter. So the Boa Food, that's what is selected, and that is it. I can create a new vendor. So from your vendor center, right, from your vendor center here, you can start any transaction at all with the vendor. You can start any transaction at all with the vendor, right? I like to do this so that you will be seeing where we are. We are at the vendor center, and you can see that Boa Food is the one selected. So if I select Dangote Sugar, you can see that the name actually changed as well. So any vendor I select, you can see that it will always change on the title bar on that window, right? Now I can start any transaction just as I say. I can from here now start a new transaction. Just click on the drop down arrow and I will select. If it is to pay the vendor, I will do that. If it is create purchase order, I will do that. If to receive inventory items and enter their bills, I will do that. If to just receive the item, enter bills for receive item, I will do that from the selected vendor here, right? So I told us that when we come back, we are going to look at how to do what? We are going to look at how to receive those items. Now from the window I just showed us, you can see that we have a couple of options where we are seeing different options actually. Now when I click this transaction, we are seeing that we have to enter bill, we have to pay bill, we have to create purchase order, we have to receive items and enter bill, we have to receive items, we have to enter bill for received items. So these are different options. So what do these options mean? So I can start my teaching from here, or I can as well come back to this place and do the same teaching. Now let me use the one you are seeing, right? So I'll use this option that you are seeing, but it's basically the same thing. If you look at here, we have receive inventory, right? Receive inventory. While in this section, in our vendor section here, we have what? We have receive items and enter bills. So it's basically the same language. Receive items and receive inventory is still the same thing. So let's go. Let me use this inventory, receive inventory. Now what does it mean? So record receipt of inventory items that arrive with a bill or without a bill to keep your inventory up to date. Now what does that mean? That's QuickBooks' definition of that, because every option you click on in QuickBooks has its own definition, has what it does. Now when you look at this, you will see that there is a little drop down arrow that is pointing down. So when you click on that arrow, we have two options here. We have receive inventory with bills and receive inventory without bill. So what is the difference? And that's exactly what I'm about to tell us right now. Now bill means that is a pending payment, pending obligation that you need to settle. That is what bill simply means. Now when you receive an inventory item with bill, it means that as the vendor is sending the item or the inventory item to you or to your location, he has attached the invoice for those products that he sent to you, right? So the invoice for those products that he sent to you will detail the cost per price of all of those items and the total value of the item that was sent. Remember, we have created purchase order earlier on. So when you look at it, if the vendor send the item with invoice, so we have to receive it with bill, right? But if the vendor, because of the trust the vendor may have on us, you place a call on the vendor, you say, send me this item right now, I need to make a sale. Then the vendor just send it to you without actually telling you or sending the invoice across. That is, you are receiving that item without a bill. Now what happened is that when you receive this item without a bill, later on, all right, later on you will have to enter the bills when it comes against the item you receive without a bill. Now look at this, we have a purchase order already we created. Now, but before we do that, because I want to use two different scenarios here. Now before we do that, let's go ahead and add a couple of inventory, create a purchase order, a new purchase order, right? Let's create a new purchase order. Actually, we can create a new purchase order, or we can just receive the item from here and enter it without a purchase order. But let's just use the purchase order. Now let's go ahead, create a purchase order, because we're going to raise another purchase order for another different vendor. So let's say we are raising a purchase order for Boa Food, right? We are raising a purchase order for Boa Food, and this time around we have there is no item that Boa Food supply here, right? So in this case, because we are under item already, and what we are looking for is items that we are going to attach to Boa Food. So in this case, I will just go ahead, let me just do something quickly. Okay, let me do something quickly. Yeah, okay, let me add some items here. Since we are talking about Boa Food, we have let me just assume that what are these items that Boa Food sells? What are those items? All right, I just added a couple of items here for Boa Food. Let's say these are the items we're going to add in the QuickBooks. Now, like I told you in the earlier section, I said depending on where you are and what you are looking for, you can do whatever you want to do in QuickBooks. Now, because I am under item here, right, and I want to add the items I want to add, I want to fill on this purchase order form is not available here. So but I have the option to add new item from here, so I can just go ahead and click on add new item, even though it is not where I'm supposed to add the item from. Normally I'm supposed to come to my list, come to my item and item list, and that we click on item here and new item to add new item. But no, since I'm already here under this section and I want to add new items, I can go ahead and click on add new here. Then it will take me to the same place where all those processes from list, and you can see I have just boycotted all those long processes. So I'll go ahead and select this item here. Now, which item do I want to add? I want to add this item. Let's say I want to add this sugar item, right? Boa sugar. Then I will go ahead and just click on here, right? And click here, then add the description here. Now, in this case, because I am dealing with Boa Food, and I know that Boa Food have a couple of items that I sell according to the setup we have here. Now, I can make it a category, a sub item of Boa. I can have Boa items as an category, right? I can just check on this sub item of. Now, when I click this sub item of, you can see that I don't have any option for Boa. There is no Boa item here. What I will do is I'll just, because I am here already, like I said, I can just go ahead and add new item. Now, in this case, it's going to be an inventory item as well. Then I will now type Boa Food. Now I can say Boa product, Boa product, Boa products, right? Boa products here. Then also I'll just copy this and paste it here, right? And here under the cost of sales account. Now under the cost of sales account, because I'm dealing with Boa Food, now I want to track product that are coming from Boa Food separately, and because I am here, I don't actually need to go back to my chart of account to add a new account. So So from here I can just scroll up and come to my add new. Then I can add a new account. Now I can just say cost of sales. How do I do the setting? I do cost of goods sold, then dash. This is my setting, this is my preference. So on your own you can choose to do whatever preference you want to do, but make sure that what you're doing actually reflects what you are selling or what your account is. So this is BOA, cost of sales, BOA product, right? Cost of sales, BOA products, cost of sales, BOA product, and I will make it a sub account of cost of sales, right? Actually this is supposed to be small letter. I like my sub account to always be on small letter, right? So I will just go ahead and make it a sub account under cost of sales, right? It's going to be here. Then I'll click OK. Now that is what I'm going to select here, and because I did that, it has selected this product. Now when I come to my revenue as well, my revenue, I'll do the same thing. I'll do revenue, I'll add new account, right? I'll do revenue. What is the preference? Let me check. We have revenue from, okay, now this is going to be revenue, this is going to be income from BOA food, from BOA product, income from BOA products, right? So that is it. Then I'll make it a sub account under revenue, and that is it. I'll save it. Then here, what is the cost? The cost is 10,000. Just copy this, then I will paste it here, right? So you already know this process is not something we need to waste time on anymore. So I will just pause this video from here, and we'll come back to read when I'm done imputing those values. So I have added all the items, right? I have added all the items, as you see. Now if you come to your item list here, you will see these items, right? So you can see that all these ones that are indented under BOA product, because they are categorized under BOA product. That's just to show that they are under BOA product. That's why they are indented this way, right? So that is it on that. Now when we go back to our purchase order, right, remember the aim of this class is to show you how to receive inventory item when it comes with bill, and when they did not come with bill. Now that is the aim. So here we have created a product under BOA food. I told us that you can add a product depending on where you are. You can add any product or do anything you want, so far you know what you are doing, right? Because I know that I want this item to be here, even though they were not in my item list, but I can still add them from this place, right? So that is it. Now we have to decide the quantity, right? Let's say this is going to be 20, right? This is going to be let's say this is going to be 30, then this is going to be 20 as well, and this is going to be let's say 30, right? So this is what we have. We can see it has calculated everything for us. Now purchase order does not mean that the price you raise for that item is actually what you're going to get for those items, right? Maybe this can be done through confirmation from placing a call to the vendor to actually confirm the price, or going to for market survey to confirm the price of this item, right? But prices can change at any time. At the point of receiving, the prices may increase or the prices may reduce. So that is it. So when you're done with the purchase order, right, when you're done with the purchase order, you can go ahead and save and close or save and new. You already know what this tool does. So I'll just go ahead and say save and close, so that to go out of this place completely. So click on save and close. Right, whenever you see options like this for correction and spell check, you can go ahead and ignore it. If your spellings are correct, go ahead and ignore. Right, when you ignore, you have something like this. So your purchase order have been saved. Now the main reason why we are in this class, or why we're doing this, is to receive the inventory item, right? Not actually to raise a new purchase order. Now to receive this item, I told you there are two options. Now because we have to invest in purchase orders, we are going to apply them to the two. Now when you see this, when you click on inventory items, when you click here, when you come to this receive inventory here, this receive inventory, you see this pointer. Click on it, you can see that receive item with bill and receive without bill. But when you come to your inventory center, your vendor center, and you select Boa Food, you can see that Boa Food has one purchase order which is negative because it has not been supplied yet. Now you can see these new transactions you're seeing here, new transactions here, this pointer. Now this drop down list arrow, you click on it, you can see that we have different options. Now receive items and enter bill is the same thing with receive inventory with bill. Receive items is the same thing with receive and receive items is the same thing with receive item, right? Then enter bills for receive item is the same thing with receive, is the same thing with enter bills against inventory. So this is the same language they are using. So depending on where you are, you will find these different options, but they basically mean the same thing. You can do if you know what they are, you can actually apply them there, right? So let's receive inventory with bill. Receive inventory with bill. Now you have this form, right? I told you that any time you open any window like this, it is called a form in QuickBooks. So this is enter bill form, right? So when you open the enter bill form, your consign is not here. Your consign is nothing here for now. Your consign is here. So the first question you are going to answer is, who is the vendor that you are receiving this item from? Who is the vendor that supply the item you are receiving, right? So let's go ahead. The first vendor we are receiving item from is our Primer Food. Now immediately we click on Primer Food. Now we see that the open window, like this this window pops up, right? Now it is now telling us that there is an existing purchase order, right? Purchase order on this vendor. If you want to use the purchase order to receive the bill, to receive the item, you can go ahead and say yes, otherwise you can say no. Now why is this question important? In some cases you may receive item that you did not raise purchase order for and it's from the same vendor. You can just go ahead and say no, and it will give you the choice or the option to enter the items from the beginning, and you do that. But if you say yes, it automatically fill out the vendor, it will automatically fill out the purchase order. So when you say yes, this is what it's going to do. It's going to open up the purchase order right under that vendor. If there are more than one purchase order, you see them listed right here. So you select the one you want to receive, so you go ahead and select it and click OK. Now when you go ahead and click OK, you can see that we have this purchase order and everything we raised earlier on just appeared here. Now when you come here, right, we have this item. Now you have confirmed that this item that the person supplied maybe is above it happens maybe it's above 50, right? Because your purchase order says 50, but he supplied 55, and this particular one he supplied, let's say 45, right? And this one he supplied, let's say 55 as well, right? So it happens. This is a real life scenario. It happens. So you will not say because you raise purchase order for 50 and he supply 55, you are not going to receive it. No, you're going to receive the item that he supplied according to the numbers that he supplied, right? So when you do that, now you have selected, you have imputed or the value or the number of items, and if the price change from this point, at this point, that is where you're going to effect the changes. If the price change, let's say this item is no longer what will I say, it is no longer 12,500. let's say it's now 12,700. So you can just effect the change here, right? Now when you do that, when you effect change, now QuickBooks automatically take cognizance of that. It recognizes that, oh, there is a change that exists in the cost of this item. Now QuickBooks is trying to confirm with you, do you want to effect the change in the current price or in the current cost? Now because the price has changed, you can as well say yes, right? So now you have changed the price has automatically changed. Now the next question QuickBooks want to answer or want you to answer is to, okay, since the cost price have changed, do you want to also change the selling price? Now the current selling price is this value. That means your markup is on a your markup currently is negative 4.78%. So that means your cost price is higher than your selling price. Remember that what we did here is that this thing is net VAT. That's why we're having this. Now the new price, if you want to say the new price, you want to add this markup, the new price should be something around this figure. So when you say yes, it's going to actually make up the new price and make the changes, update it for you. Now this is just a simple scenario how to do that. So if the price change and you want to effect the changes in your cost and the changes in your selling price, you can as well do that from here. But I always advise that before you make any change here, you should be able to have somewhere you have done it manually, so that when QuickBooks is making any changes, you know exactly how much how much changes is making. Now the one that is more pronounced and the one that is more clear to understand from here is the current price, right? Is the cost. The cost is more pronounced and it's more spelled out. Now in this case, you can see that because we have what we imputed here was net VAT, right? That's what we are having here. Now in this case, what we are going to do, if we want to effect this change, or I advise or I recommend that you always do this manually from the inventory selling price section, but this you can as well effect it immediately. So this one, I can just say no on this, right? I can say no on this and effect the change here and effect the change on the cost. Then on the selling price, I can go ahead and look at the selling price again, right? I will go ahead and look at the selling price for the item that changes, right? Let's say the item that the selling price change is what okay, this is the item that the selling price change. We bought at 12,000 and we're selling at 12,500. Let's say this time around we want to make it 13,000. So 13,000, that means the VAT exclusive is going to be 12,900 and what? 12,093 naira .0 something kobo. So if you say yes on this, is it going to be up to that? If you say yes, is it going to be up to that? Okay, yeah, it's going to be up to that. The current price is this. No, it's not. It's not. So this is it, right? So this is it. Okay, it's correct. It's actually correct. It's 13,000. What we have here before. We have this here. Okay, it's 11,000. But now, okay, actually QuickBooks is right. But just I told us that just to confirm, just also always make sure that you confirm your changes. Right, QuickBooks was actually right. So if you say yes, you can see that this is the markup. The current price is going to mark it up to 13,000 actually. So you can see it's marking it up to 13,000. This is the exclusive rate, and this is what we also have as the current price. Okay, this is what we have as the current price. Then this is what we have as the new price. So this is what we have as a new price. Okay, all right. So you can just go ahead and say yes and effect the change immediately, right? It has been corrected, and when that is done, when you receive this item like this and you corrected everything, make sure you're down. Now, where you have your ref number, now your ref number is usually the invoice number the vendor sent to you. So our invoice number is going to be invoice number, it may be 001, right? 001. Then you can put a memo. Right, you can put a memo. Then the times, maybe the vendor said if there is a time for it, maybe you can say due on receipt. That maybe you say due on receipt that you have to pay as soon as you receive the item, or maybe say the vendor say okay, net 30 days, which is usual, right, or net 15 days or net 7 days, whichever you are going to. But usually we used to see due on receipt, so we can say due on receipt. Is there any discount that the vendor gave you? If there's any discount that the vendor gave you, you can apply the discount on payment, right? You can apply the discounts whenever you are making the payment. So discount dates is going to appear here. So we have this due date is this day, right? So when you do that, when you receive this item with bill, remember what we're doing is receiving the item with bill, right? Receiving the item with bill. Here we have the vendor's details, we have the transaction, right? This is the only transaction we have with him. This is the only purchase order. Right, so when you do that, to close, save and close, you already know what it means. Save and close and save and new. Now the date of receipt is also very important, so let's go ahead and save and close. Right, save and close. You have reached Now look at what it's saying. Because we selected the invoice says due or received. Now you have changed the terms of primary food for this transaction. This change will reflect in your current transaction. Do you want to make it permanent? That is to reflect in all your past and future transactions. And go ahead and say yes. Right? So go ahead and say yes. So we have seen that that has been recorded. So we have received an inventory item with bill. Now with bill means that from now henceforth, since we have received this item, we can now start tracking that, oh, we owe this vendor. So to know that to see whether you owe any vendor, to track your bills, you can come to your vendors here, click on bill tracker. Now you click on bill tracker. Now when you click on bill tracker, you can see that these are your open on bill. These are the purchase order. This is the purchase order that is on bill. We have two purchase orders that are on bill, right? We have two purchase orders that are on bill, right? Now we have unpaid bill. Now this unpaid bill is the one we just received. This unpaid bill, now we can now say, okay, we are owing this person because he has supplied the product, so we are actually owing him. So in that case, this is what we are owing him: 2.47 thousand, 2,047,000 naira. That's what I meant to say. Now that is it. So that's how to track your bill in QuickBooks, and that's how to receive item with bills in QuickBooks, right? So you can start tracking how much you owe your supplier. So when we come back in the next section, we're going to look at how to receive inventory item without a bill, so that when the bill comes later, you can enter the bills against that invoice. So thank you very much, and see you in the next section.